Before we dive in, please remember, I am not a financial advisor, and this presentation is for educational and informational purposes only. The information shared here is not financial, legal, or tax advice. You should always consult with a licensed professional for advice tailored to your specific situation. Your financial decisions are your own, and investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. What if I told you that the single biggest retirement mistake isn't picking the wrong stock or timing the market badly? It's not even starting too late. The single biggest mistake is believing the lie that you don't have enough money to even start. It's the belief that retirement is a luxury reserved for people who make six figures, that you need thousands of dollars just to open an account. That lie is costing millions of Americans their future. Right now, nearly half of all Americans between the ages of 55 and 66 have $0 saved for retirement. Zero. That's not a typo. It's a crisis. And it's a crisis born from the paralyzing fear that if you can't save a lot, you shouldn't save at all. This video is here to destroy that lie permanently. We're going to build your retirement plan from the ground up, right here, right now. Not with a six-figure salary. Not with a windfall inheritance. We're going to do it with the money you have today. Even if that's just $20, $50, $100 a month. Because the secret isn't how much you start with. It's that you start. Period. For too long, the world of finance has been wrapped in confusing jargon designed to make you feel like you're not smart enough to manage your own money. Words like expense ratios, asset allocation, fiduciary duty. It's designed to be intimidating. It makes you want to shut the laptop and just hope for the best. You think, I'll figure it out when I get a raise. Or, Social Security will take care of me. But hope is not a strategy. And banking on Social Security alone is like planning a cross-country road trip with only a quarter tank of gas and no map. It's not going to get you where you want to go. This is not going to be one of those videos. We are not talking theory. We are building a machine. A simple, powerful wealth-building machine that you can turn on today, and that will work for you in the background for the rest of your life. I'm going to give you the exact step-by-step playbook. We'll cover what accounts to open, where to open them, what to put inside them, and how to automate the entire process so it runs on its own, without you having to stress about it every single day. By the end of this presentation, you will have more clarity and confidence about your financial future than 99% of the population. You will have a plan, a real actionable plan. Let's start by vaporizing the biggest myth of all. I need a lot of money to invest. This is Wall Street's favorite lie. Keeps them in business and it keeps you on the sidelines. The truth? You can start investing with $5. You can start with $1. The barrier to entry has been completely obliterated by technology. The real barrier is in your mind. So let's reframe this. Forget climbing Mount Everest. Forget the idea that you have to save $1 million overnight. I want you to picture a staircase. That's it. A simple staircase leading up to your financial freedom. Right now, you're standing at the bottom. The top seems impossibly far away, lost in the clouds. That's okay. You don't need to see the top. You only need to see the very first step. Our entire goal today is to build and take that first step. Then the next. And the next. What is that first step? It's not about picking the perfect stock. It's not about downloading a complicated trading app. The first step is understanding the incredible, almost magical power you already have at your disposal. It's a force more powerful than any stock market genius, more reliable than any hot tip. It's the force of compound interest. Albert Einstein supposedly called it the eighth wonder of the world. He said, "He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it." Let's make this real. Imagine two friends, Sarah and Ben. Both are 25 years old. Sarah is a super saver. She decides to invest $300 every single month. She does this for just 10 years from age 25 to 35. At age 35, she stops completely. She never adds another dime to her retirement account. In total, she invested $36,000. Now there's Ben. Ben decides to wait. He enjoys his 20s, travels, and figures he'll get serious about saving later. At age 35, the exact same age Sarah stopped, Ben starts. He's a little behind, so he decides to invest that same $300 a month, but he does it all the way until he's 65. That's 30 straight years of investing. In total, he invested $108,000, 3 times more than Sarah. Now, who do you think has more money at age 65? It's not even close. Assuming a pretty average 8% annual return, Ben, who invested 3 times more money, ends up with about $408,000. A fantastic result. But Sarah, the one who only invested for 10 years and then stopped, she ends up with over $560,000. How is that possible? She invested $72,000 less, yet ended up with over $150,000 more. The answer is time. Her money had 30 extra years to work for her to grow to compound. Every dollar she earned in interest started earning its own interest. Her money started making money, and then that money started making more money. It's a snowball effect. The person who starts the snowball at the top of the biggest hill wins. Time is your hill. It is the single greatest asset you have, more valuable than a high income, more valuable than a lucky stock pick. And it's an asset you are spending every single day, whether you use it or not. The takeaway isn't that you should stop investing at 35. The takeaway is that starting now with whatever you have is infinitely more powerful than starting later with more. That $20 you can scrape together this week? In 40 years, it could be worth over $400 without you ever touching it again. That $50 a month? Over 40 years, that small habit becomes over $170,000. This isn't magic. It's just math. And it's math that works for everyone, not just the wealthy. So, how do we put this math to work for us? How do we build this machine? That's our staircase. The first few steps are the most important. First, we need to choose the right container for our money. This is our retirement account. You've probably heard the alphabet soup of names. 401k, 403b, IRA, Roth IRA. These aren't investments themselves, they're special shields. They are accounts with incredible tax superpowers given to us by the US government to encourage us to save. Think of them like a supercharged greenhouse for your money, protecting it from the harsh weather of taxes and allowing it to grow much, much faster. We're going to break down exactly what each one is, and I'll show you how to pick the single best one for your situation, even if your job doesn't offer a retirement plan. Once we have our container, our supercharged account, we have to decide what to put inside it. This is where people get paralyzed. They think they need to be Warren Buffett, picking individual stocks like Apple or Tesla. You don't. In fact, for 99% of people, that's a terrible idea. Instead, we're going to use one of the most brilliant and simple inventions in modern finance: the low-cost index fund. This is how you can own a tiny piece of hundreds or even thousands of the biggest and best companies in America with a single click for pennies. It's the ultimate form of diversification and the closest thing to a set-it-and-forget-it strategy that exists. We will walk through exactly what they are and which specific ones to consider. Finally, we're going to put the entire system on autopilot. We'll set up automatic transfers from your checking account, so the money moves and gets invested without you even thinking about it. This is the key. This removes emotion. It removes discipline. It turns you from a hopeful saver into an automatic investor. It makes your financial progress inevitable. This is the path. This is the staircase we're going to build, one simple step at a time. No jargon, no confusion, just a clear, actionable plan to take you from zero to a fully funded retirement plan, starting today with what you have. The first step on this staircase is choosing that perfect account, the tax-shielded greenhouse for your future wealth. And it's a decision we're going to make together right now. Okay, we have our staircase. We have our goal. But a staircase is useless if the first step is rotten, or confusing, or if there are a dozen different first steps all screaming for your attention. That's what it feels like when you first look at retirement accounts. It's an alphabet soup of confusion. 401k, 403b, IRA, Roth IRA, SEP, simple. It's designed to be intimidating. Feels like a test you're supposed to fail. But here's the secret. It's not that complicated. There are really only 2 doors you need to worry about right now. Door number 1 is the account you get through your job. Door number 2 is the account you open yourself. That's it. And the order you open them in is the most important financial decision you might make this decade. Let's start with door number 1, the workplace plan. This is your 401k if you work at a for-profit company, or usually a 403b if you work for a nonprofit like a school or a hospital. Think of this as the VIP lounge of retirement savings, and your employer has the key. The reason it's so important is because of 2 magic words. The company match. If you hear nothing else I say, hear this. The company match is the closest thing to a financial miracle you will ever experience. It is free money. It is a 100% guaranteed return on your investment instantly. Imagine you're at a coffee shop. You put $5 on the counter to buy a latte. And as you do, your boss walks up, puts another $5 right next to yours and says, "Here, this is for you." No strings attached. You'd look at them like they were crazy. You just doubled your money for doing nothing but buying the coffee you were already going to buy. You would never ever turn that down. That is exactly what a company match is. Your employer is saying, for every dollar you save for your own future, we will give you $1 for free up to a certain amount. A common match is 100% of the first 5%. This means if you make $50,000 a year, 5% of your salary is $2,500. If you put that $2,500 into your 401k over the course of the year, your employer will reach into their corporate bank account and deposit an additional $2,500 into your account. For you. For free. You started with $2,500 of your own money, and you ended the year with $5,000. Before it even had a chance to grow or earn a single penny in the market, you doubled your money. Not taking the company match is not just leaving money on the table. It's setting fire to a pile of cash that has your name on it. It's a voluntary pay cut. So the absolute, unquestionable, non-negotiable first step for anyone with a workplace plan is to contribute exactly enough to get the full company match. Find out what that percentage is from your HR department today. Set it up. And never turn it off. This is priority number 1. Now, what if you don't have a job with a 401k? Or what if you're a freelancer, a gig worker, or a small business owner? Or what if you're already getting your full match and you want to do more? This is where we walk through door number 2. This is the account you open and control completely. This is your individual retirement arrangement or IRA. And opening this door presents you with one of the great fundamental choices in personal finance. A choice that's less about numbers and more about a bet you're making on yourself. The choice is between a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA. They sound similar, but they operate on opposite principles, and understanding the difference is like having a superpower. It all comes down to one simple question. Do you want to pay your taxes now? Or do you want to pay your taxes later? Let's talk about the traditional IRA first. With a traditional IRA, you contribute money before it gets taxed. It's pre-tax. So if you earn $100 and put it into a traditional IRA, you don't pay any income tax on that $100 this year. It lowers your taxable income right now, which feels good. It might even mean you get a bigger tax refund. That money then grows for decades tax-deferred. The catch? When you're 65 and you start taking that money out to live on, every single dollar you withdraw gets taxed as regular income. You're deferring the tax bill. You pay the piper in the future. Now let's look at the Roth IRA. The Roth is the mirror image. You contribute money after it's been taxed. It's post-tax. So you earn your $100, you pay your normal income tax on it, and then you put the remaining, say $80 into your Roth IRA. It doesn't give you a tax break today. But here is where the magic happens. That money grows and it grows and it grows for decades. And when you retire and pull that money out, it is 100%, completely gloriously tax-free. The government can never touch it again. You paid your taxes up front, so all the growth, all the earnings, all of it is yours to keep. So which one do you choose? It's a bet. A traditional IRA is a bet that you'll be in a lower tax bracket in retirement than you are today. A Roth IRA is a bet that you'll be in a higher tax bracket in retirement. And for the vast majority of people starting out, especially with a small budget, I believe the Roth IRA isn't just the better choice. It's the only choice. It is the undisputed champion. Here's why. First, when you're just starting your career, you are likely in the lowest tax bracket you will ever be in. Your income is probably going to go up over the next 30 or 40 years. So doesn't it make sense to pay the taxes now while the tax rate is low? Get it out of the way while it's cheap. Paying taxes on your seed is a lot less painful than paying taxes on your eventual harvest. Second, we have no idea what tax rates will be in the future. Politicians can and will change them. Given the state of the national debt, is it more likely that taxes will be higher or lower in 30 years? Having a bucket of money that is immune to future tax hikes isn't just a good idea. It's a critical piece of financial armor. But the third reason is the most important one, especially if money is tight. It's the Roth IRA's secret escape hatch. With a Roth, you can withdraw your original contributions, not the earnings but the money you put in at any time for any reason with no tax and no penalty. Let me say that again. The money you put into a Roth IRA is not locked away forever. If you contribute $5,000 this year, and next year your car breaks down and you have a catastrophic emergency, you can pull that $5,000 right back out. This makes the Roth IRA a powerful hybrid account. It's your retirement plan, but it's also your ultimate backup emergency fund. This single feature demolishes the fear of locking your money away. It gives you flexibility and peace of mind, making it so much easier to start saving when you're worried about the unexpected. So let's put it all together. We've cleared away the alphabet soup and built a simple, powerful hierarchy. A step-by-step plan. Priority number 1. If you have a workplace 401k with a match, contribute just enough to get 100% of that free money. This is the foundation. Do not pass go, do not collect $200 until you have done this. Priority number 2. Once you've secured the match, your very next dollar should go into opening and funding a Roth IRA. You can contribute up to the annual limit, which is currently a few $1,000s per year. Priority number 3. If you are one of the lucky few who has maxed out your Roth IRA for the year, and you still have money you want to save, only then do you go back to your 401k and increase your contribution percentage beyond the match. That's it. That's the blueprint. For 401k to the match, then max out a Roth IRA, then back to the 401k. For 95% of people starting out, this is the optimal wealth-building path. You now know which account to choose. You've picked out the perfect pot for your money seed. You've chosen the tax-shielded greenhouse that will protect it and help it grow. The decision is made. But a pot is just an empty container. The real magic, the explosive growth, comes from what you plant inside of it. Choosing the account is step 1. Choosing the right investments inside that account is what separates a small retirement bush from a mighty financial sequoia that will shelter you for the rest of your life. And in the next part, we're going to plant that sequoia. All right, let's open the door to the investment world. You might be picturing Wall Street traders in expensive suits, screaming into phones, surrounded by a dizzying wall of blinking green and red numbers. Feels complicated. Feels intimidating. Feels like a club you weren't invited to. When you open your new retirement account, you're faced with what feels like 1,000 different options. It's like being handed the keys to a spaceship, but the dashboard has 10,000 buttons, and the instruction manual is written in ancient Greek. You see tickers like VOO, FCROX, SWPPX. You see words like growth, value, small cap, emerging markets. The fear of pushing the wrong button is paralyzing. So what do most people do? They freeze. They leave their money sitting in cash, inside the retirement account, losing value to inflation every single day. It's like planting a seed for that mighty sequoia, and then never watering it. The potential is there, but without action it will never ever grow. But what if I told you that the secret to successful investing, the strategy recommended by legendary investors like Warren Buffett for the average person, isn't about picking the next Tesla or Amazon? What if the secret is to be boring? What if the most powerful strategy is to deliberately not try to be the smartest person in the room? The secret is to buy the entire haystack instead of trying to find the needle. Let's break this down. First, let's quickly demystify the jargon, because Wall Street loves to use confusing words to make you feel like you need to pay them big fees. A stock is simple. It's a tiny, tiny ownership slice of a single company, like Apple or Walmart. If the company does well, your slice becomes more valuable. A bond is even simpler. It's just a loan. You are lending your money to a company or a government, and they promise to pay you back with interest. Stocks are the engine of growth. Bonds are the brakes and the seatbelt. Now, most people don't buy individual stocks. It's risky. If that one company fails, your money is gone. Instead, they buy mutual funds or ETFs. Think of these as big baskets. A fund manager takes money from thousands of people and buys hundreds, or even thousands of different stocks and bonds, putting them all in one basket. You buy a share of the basket, and you instantly own a tiny piece of everything inside. It's a fantastic way to diversify and reduce your risk. But here's the critical part. Most of those baskets are actively managed. That means you're paying a highly paid manager, a financial chef, to try and pick the best stocks and avoid the worst ones. They're trying to time the market to outsmart everyone else. The problem? Study after study shows that over the long term, more than 90% of these expert chefs fail to beat the market average. Not only do they fail, but they charge you a hefty fee for the privilege of underperforming. That fee, often 1% or more, sounds small, but it acts like a termite, silently eating away at the foundation of your retirement sequoia. Over 30 years, a 1% fee can devour nearly a third of your potential earnings. It is the single biggest wealth destroyer for the average investor. So what's the alternative? This is the key. It's a special kind of basket called an index fund. An index fund is the ultimate boring investment, and it is your absolute best friend. It's a passively managed fund. There is no brilliant chef. There is just a computer following one simple rule. Buy every single stock or bond in a major market index. The most famous index is the S&P 500, which is simply the 500 largest companies in the United States. So an S&P 500 index fund doesn't try to pick winners. It just buys a little bit of Apple, a little bit of Microsoft, a little bit of Johnson & Johnson, a little bit of all 500. By buying one share of an S&P 500 index fund, you are essentially betting on the entire American economy. You are diversified across 500 of the most successful companies on Earth. And because a computer is running the show instead of a Wall Street guru, the fees are astronomically low. We're talking fees like 0.04% or even zero. This is the difference between keeping almost all of your growth and giving a third of it away to someone who probably can't even beat the average. Warren Buffett himself has said, for the vast majority of people, the best thing they can do is own a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. So how do you actually build your portfolio? How do you plant your sequoia? You can make it incredibly simple with a strategy called the 3-fund portfolio. This is the gold standard for hands-off, set-it-and-forget-it investing. It gives you nearly perfect diversification across the entire globe with just 3 ingredients. Ingredient 1. A U.S. total stock market index fund. This is slightly broader than just the S&P 500. It includes the big guys, but also thousands of medium and small-sized American companies. It's your core holding. You own a piece of the entire U.S. economy. Ingredient 2. An international total stock market index fund. The U.S. is great, but it's not the only game in town. There are incredible companies all over the world. This fund is your basket of stocks from developed and emerging markets across Europe, Asia, and beyond. This protects you in case the U.S. market has a bad decade while the rest of the world booms. And ingredient 3. A U.S. total bond market index fund. This is your stabilizer, your shock absorber. When the stock market inevitably has a panic attack and drops 20 or 30%, your bonds will hold much more stable and might even go up. They reduce the volatility and help you sleep at night, preventing you from panic selling at the worst possible time. That's it. That's the entire recipe. 3 funds. U.S. stocks, international stocks, and U.S. bonds. You are now more diversified than most billionaire investors. The only question left is how much of each. This is called your asset allocation. And there's a very simple rule of thumb to get you started. It's not perfect for everyone, but it's a fantastic starting point. 110 minus your age. That's the percentage you should have in stocks. The rest goes into bonds. So if you are 30 years old, 110 minus 30 is 80. You would aim to have 80% of your money in stocks, and the remaining 20% in bonds. That 80% in stocks can then be split. Many people do about 70% of that in the US fund and 30% in the international fund. Let's make this real. Imagine you open your Roth IRA, and you've decided to contribute $100 every month. You're 30 years old, so you're using that 80-20 split. Every single month, your $100 could be automatically invested like this. $56 would go into your US total stock market index fund. That's 70% of your $80 stock portion. $24 would go into your international total stock market index fund. That's 30% of your $80 stock portion. And the final $20 would go into your total bond market index fund. You set this up once. Takes maybe 15 minutes. And then you never have to think about it again. Every single month automatically, you are buying a tiny slice of the entire global economy at an incredibly low cost. You are not gambling. You are not day trading. You are systematically, patiently, and boringly building wealth. You have planted your sequoia in the richest soil on Earth. All you have to do now is give it time and water. The water, of course, is money. The more you can contribute, the faster it grows. And that brings us to the biggest hurdle of all. We've picked the right account. We've chosen the perfect, simple investment strategy. We have the blueprint for your financial fortress. But a fortress is useless without the bricks and mortar. It's easy to talk about investing $100 a month, but what if you look at your budget and there's just nothing left? What if you're living paycheck to paycheck? In the next part, we're going to find those bricks, even if you think your wallet is completely empty. Let's be honest. That feeling is one of the most stressful, suffocating feelings in the world. You work hard, the money comes in, and before you even have a chance to say hello to it, it's gone. Bills, rent, gas, groceries, it's a blur. And at the end of the month, looking for extra money for retirement feels like trying to find water in the desert. Feels impossible. And I want to tell you right now, that feeling is valid. It's real. This isn't about blaming you or telling you to just try harder. This is about changing the game. We're not going on a diet of bread and water. We're going on a treasure hunt. We're going to become financial detectives, and our mission is to uncover the hidden cash that's already in your life, disguised as something else. The first step is something I call the money autopsy. I know it sounds a little grim, but stick with me. A budget feels restrictive like a cage. An autopsy is about discovery. It's a no-judgment, purely factual investigation into where your money went. For the next 30 days, your only job is to track every single dollar. I don't care if it's a 99-cent pack of gum or a $400 car payment. Every penny gets written down. You can use an app like Mint, in-app, or Copilot that connects to your bank accounts and does this automatically. Or you can go old school with a small notebook and a pen. The tool doesn't matter. The act of observing does. For this first month, you don't have to change a thing. Don't try to spend less. Don't feel guilty about that fancy coffee. Just be a scientist. Observe and record the data. I did this myself years ago, and I was convinced I knew where my money was going. I thought, I'm careful. There's no fat to trim. But the data doesn't lie. My autopsy revealed a shocking truth. I was spending over $200 a month on things I barely remembered buying. A lunch here, a premium app subscription there, paying for faster shipping on Amazon. It wasn't one big, irresponsible purchase. It was death by 1,000 tiny cuts. And that's where most people find their bricks. After you have your 30 days of data, it's time to perform the analysis. We're going to sort every expense into 3 simple buckets. Forget complicated spreadsheets with 50 categories. All you need are 3. Bucket number 1, fixed essentials. These are your big rocks. Your rent or mortgage, your car payment, your insurance premiums, your cell phone bill. The stuff that's pretty much the same amount every month and is non-negotiable for living your life. Bucket number 2, variable essentials. These are the things you absolutely need, but the cost can fluctuate. Groceries, gas for your car, utilities like electricity and water. You can't eliminate these, but as we'll see later, you can influence them. And now the most important one. Bucket number 3, the leakage bucket. This is where the treasure is buried. This bucket contains everything else. It's your morning coffee, your Netflix and Spotify subscriptions, your lunches out with coworkers, your DoorDash orders, the late fees, the impulse buys at Target, the clothes you bought but haven't worn. This is the land of convenience, habits, and in-the-moment decisions. Now we put on our detective hats and we investigate the leakage bucket with a magnifying glass. First, let's talk about the silent killer of wealth, subscriptions. We live in a subscription economy. Everything from your TV to your razor blades can be a recurring charge. I want you to print out your last credit card and bank statements and get a highlighter. Go through line by line and highlight every single recurring charge. Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, Max, Peacock, YouTube Premium, Spotify, Apple Music, that gym membership you haven't used since January, that fancy photo editing app you used once, that free trial that quietly started billing you 6 months ago. Lay it all out. Add it up. The number will probably shock you. The average American spends hundreds of dollars a year on subscriptions they don't even use. This is your first target. This is low-hanging fruit. Be ruthless. Ask yourself, do I use this every week? Does this bring me real, tangible joy? If the answer is no, cut it. It's not deprivation, it's liberation. You're not losing a service you don't use. You're gaining a brick for your future. Canceling 2 streaming services you barely watch could easily free up $30 a month. That's a brick. Next, let's investigate what I call the convenience tax. We are all guilty of paying this tax. It's the extra $7 fee for getting your groceries delivered instead of spending 30 minutes at the store. It's the $15 for a sad desk salad from DoorDash because you didn't pack a lunch. It's the $5 for a cup of coffee you could have made at home for 30 cents. Let's do the math on that coffee. A $5 coffee 5 days a week. That's $25 a week. That's $100 a month. That's $1,200 a year. Now think back to our compounding brick wall. That $100 a month invested modestly over 30 years could grow to over $150,000. I have to ask you, and you have to ask yourself, is that daily coffee worth a 6-figure chunk of your retirement? For some, the ritual is priceless, and that's okay. But for many, it's just a habit that's costing you a fortune. What if you make coffee at home 4 days a week and treated yourself on Friday? You've just found $80. That's a big, heavy brick. This isn't about making your life miserable. It's about shifting from mindless spending to mindful, value-based spending. The goal isn't to become a cheapskate who never has fun. The goal is to become an intentional spender who directs their money toward things that truly matter. That includes both your future security and your present happiness. Here's the key question to ask yourself when you look at every item in your leakage bucket. Does the value this brings to my life right now outweigh the value it could bring to my future self? Does that third streaming service bring you more joy than the peace of mind of a growing retirement fund? Does eating out for lunch 3 times a week make you happier than the freedom you'll have in your golden years? Only you can answer that. But you can't answer it honestly until you see the numbers laid out in black and white. This process is about aligning your spending with your values. If you absolutely love CrossFit and go 5 times a week, that $150 a month gym membership is probably providing immense value. Keep it. But maybe you can find that money by canceling that cable package you never watch or by committing to packing your lunch. It's a series of trade-offs. You are the CEO of your own life, and you get to decide where your resources are allocated. So here is your mission should you choose to accept it. It's not to magically find $500 this month. It's simpler. Your mission is to find your first brick. Just one. Go through your bank statements this week. Find one subscription you can cancel. Plan to pack your lunch one more day than you normally do. Call your cell phone or car insurance provider and ask if there's a better rate available. A 15-minute call can often save you $20 or $30 a month. Find one leak and plug it. That's it. Find your first $20, your first $50. Feel the power that comes from taking control and telling your money where to go, instead of wondering where it went. Because once you've found that first brick, that first $20, $50, or even $100 a month, what do you do with it? How do you make sure it actually goes towards building your wall and doesn't just get absorbed back into your spending? That's the real magic. It's called paying yourself first, and in the next part we're going to set up a system so foolproof, so automatic, that you'll be building your retirement fortress without even thinking about it. This system is the single most powerful weapon you have against your own worst enemy. And who is that? It's not your boss, it's not the government, it's not Wall Street. It's the you from 2 weeks from now. The you who's tired after a long day of work, sees a flash sale online and thinks, yeah, I'll just skip my retirement contribution this one time. I'll make up for it next month. We all know how that story ends. You never make up for it. That one time becomes every time. Life is a fire hose of decisions. What to eat for breakfast, which route to take to work, how to answer that annoying email from Brenda in accounting. By the end of the day, your decision-making muscle is exhausted. It's a real thing called decision fatigue. And when that muscle is tired, it makes bad choices. It chooses the short-term pleasure of a new gadget over the long-term security of a comfortable retirement. Paying yourself first manually requires you to win that battle against decision fatigue every single payday. Twice a month, 48 times a year, for the next 30 or 40 years. That's over 1,000 times you have to consciously choose the hard right over the easy wrong. The odds are not in your favor. Automation is how you rig the game. It's how you make the single most important financial decision of your life once, and then let a machine execute it perfectly without emotion, without fatigue, without ever being tempted by a pizza coupon forever. You are taking your flawed, emotional, future-sabotaging human self out of the equation. So let's build this machine. Right now, it has 3 simple parts. Part 1, the destination. Where is the money going? This is the retirement account we've been talking about. If your job offers a 401k with a match, that is your primary target. It's a no-brainer. Free money. You set this up through your company's HR portal. It's usually a simple online form where you decide what percentage of your paycheck you want to contribute. You fill it out once and it's done. The money is taken out before it even hits your bank account. It's the purest form of paying yourself first because you literally never see it, so you never miss it. If you don't have a 401k, or if you've already contributed enough to get the full company match and want to do more, your destination is your Roth IRA. You've already opened this account at a place like Vanguard, Fidelity, or Charles Schwab. This is your personal retirement fortress. Part 2, the amount. How much are you sending? Look back at the budget you made. You found that extra $50, $75, or maybe even $150 a month. Whatever that number is, that's your starting point. And I want to be crystal clear. Do not get hung up on this number. Do not say, well, I can only afford $25 every 2 weeks. That's pathetic, it's not even worth it. That is the poison of perfectionism trying to stop you before you even start. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Your $20 million retirement starts with your first $25 contribution. The goal right now is not to fully fund your retirement with the first transfer. The goal is to build the habit. It's to build the pipeline. We can always increase the flow of money later. What we can't do is get back the time we lose by waiting for the perfect amount. Start with something. Start with anything. Start with an amount so small you barely notice it's gone. Part 3: The automation. This is the gear that makes the whole machine turn. You are going to log into your primary checking account, the one where your paycheck gets deposited. Somewhere on that bank's website, you will find a button or a menu item that says Transfers, Payments, or Move Money. Click it. Inside that menu, you're looking for the magic words: Automatic Transfer, Recurring Transfer, or Scheduled Transfer. This is the control panel for your future. You're going to set up a new transfer. The From account is your checking account. The To account is your Roth IRA. You'll need the account and routing number for your IRA, which your brokerage provides right on their website. Then you set the amount. Let's say it's $50. Now the most important part, the frequency. You want to schedule this to happen right after you get paid. If you get paid on the 1st and the 15th of the month, set up the transfer for the 2nd and the 16th. Give it a day for your paycheck to clear. Why is the timing so important? Because it ensures the money for your future is whisked away to safety before you have a chance to spend it on anything else. It never becomes part of your available balance. You learn to live on what's left over. Your brain adapts. This is the secret. You're not saving what's left after spending. You're spending what's left after saving. It's a complete reversal of the normal broken process, and it guarantees your success. Once you hit confirm, that's it. You've done it. You have built an automated wealth machine that will now work for you in the background 24/7 for the rest of your life. Every 2 weeks, like clockwork, a little financial robot will march into your checking account, grab that $50, and deposit it into your retirement fortress. While you are sleeping, working, or watching Netflix, you are actively building your future wealth. This process does something else incredible. It's a concept called dollar cost averaging. It sounds complicated, but it's beautiful in its simplicity. The stock market goes up and the stock market goes down. It's volatile. People who try to time the market, to buy low and sell high, almost always fail. They get scared when the market drops and sell at the bottom. They get greedy when it's high and buy at the peak. Your little robot doesn't have emotions, just buys. When the market is down and prices are low, your $50 automatically buys more shares. It's like your favorite store is having a sale, and you get more for your money. When the market is up and prices are high, your $50 buys fewer shares. Over time, this strategy smooths out the bumps. It ensures you're buying more when things are cheap and less when they're expensive, lowering your average cost per share without you ever having to read a single headline or look at a single scary-looking chart. You've completely insulated yourself from the emotional roller coaster that derails most investors. I know what some of you are thinking, but what if I have an emergency? What if I need that $50? This is a valid fear, but it's misplaced. Your retirement account is not your emergency fund. That's a separate bucket of money, typically 3 to 6 months of living expenses, that you should have in a high-yield savings account. That's your buffer for a car repair or a surprise medical bill. The money going into your retirement account is for one person and one person only, future you. You do not touch it. You do not borrow from it. You pretend it doesn't exist. The real fear isn't locking $50 away. The real fear is arriving at age 67 with nothing but Social Security and a whole lot of regret. This automatic transfer is your insurance policy against that fear. It's the wall you're building brick by brick between you and a future of financial anxiety. That first $50 transfer might feel small, insignificant, but it's not just $50. It's a seed. Next payday, another seed gets planted right next to it. Soon you have a small row. Then those seeds start to sprout. They start earning dividends. They start growing. This is the miracle of compound interest. Your money starts making its own money, and then the money your money made starts making money. Before you know it, your automated contributions aren't the only thing building your fortress. The money inside the fortress has picked up its own hammers and started building alongside you. The growth starts to accelerate. That slow, boring, almost invisible process of automatic investing snowballs into an unstoppable avalanche of wealth. And it all starts with that one decision to set it and forget it. Your automated fortress is now under construction. The walls are going up every single payday without you lifting a finger. But a fortress is useless without an army inside to defend it and grow its power. The money has arrived in your IRA. Now what? What are we actually buying with it? What are the soldiers we are putting in this fortress? That choice between stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and something called an index fund is where the real power is unlocked. And in the next part, we're opening that vault. So, what are we actually buying with it? What are the soldiers we are putting in this fortress? That choice between stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and something called an index fund is where the real power is unlocked. And in this next part, we're opening that vault. Imagine your retirement account isn't just a fortress but a barracks. And the money you put in isn't just money. It's your budget to recruit a financial army. An army whose sole mission is to fight for your future, to grow in number and in strength, so that one day, you can lay down your own arms and live off the victory they've won for you. But you can't just recruit anyone. You need the right soldiers for the right job. In the world of investing, you have four main types of recruits. First, you have stocks. These are your special forces. Your all-stars. When you buy a stock, you are buying a tiny fractional piece of a publicly traded company. You own a sliver of Apple or a crumb of Costco or a speck of Starbucks. If that company does incredibly well, if it invents the next iPhone or expands into a new country, the value of your piece goes up. Sometimes way up. This is where you hear the legendary stories. The person who bought Amazon stock in 1997 and is now a millionaire. A single stock is a high-risk, high-reward super soldier. It has the potential to be a hero and single-handedly win a major battle for your portfolio. But it also has the potential to step on a landmine. Companies can fail. They can make bad decisions, get outcompeted, or become obsolete. Remember Blockbuster Video? Or Enron? If you build your entire army out of just a few of these elite soldiers, and one of them gets taken out, it's a devastating blow to your entire force. For a beginner, trying to pick the right individual stocks is like trying to predict which rookie athlete will become the next Michael Jordan. It's incredibly difficult, it takes an insane amount of research, and even the professionals get it wrong all the time. It's gambling disguised as a strategy. For our purposes, on a small budget, building an army one super soldier at a time is too slow and way too risky. So let's look at our second type of recruit, bonds. If stocks are your elite special forces, bonds are your engineers and your supply lines. They are the bedrock of your army. When you buy a bond, you aren't buying a piece of a company. You are essentially giving a loan to a company or a government. In return, they promise to pay you back in full after a set amount of time, with regular interest payments along the way. It's not exciting. A bond is never going to have a heroic 1000% growth story. Its job isn't to win the war overnight. Its job is to be stable, predictable, defensive. It's the part of your army that ensures no matter how chaotic the battle gets, the foundation remains strong. Bonds are the counterbalance to the wild swings of the stock market. They provide stability, and as you get closer to retirement, you'll want more of these reliable soldiers in your ranks. But for now, while we're young and have decades to grow, we need more offense. We need more growth potential. This is where most people get overwhelmed. So wait, you're thinking, I have to research hundreds of individual stocks, and I have to become an expert on corporate and government bonds? I have a life. I have a job. I don't have time for that. And you are absolutely right. You don't. And you don't have to. This is where our last two recruits come in, and they are game changers. The first solution to this problem is called a mutual fund. A mutual fund is like hiring a highly decorated, 5-star general to build and manage your army for you. You give this general your money, and they, along with their team of analysts, go out and recruit a diverse army on your behalf. They'll buy hundreds of different stocks from different industries and a variety of bonds. With one single purchase, you're not just buying one soldier. You're buying a pre-made, diversified battalion. This solves the problem of risk. If one of the companies in the fund goes bankrupt, it's just one soldier out of hundreds. It's a tiny blip, not a catastrophe. You get instant diversification. It sounds perfect, right? A professional does all the hard work for you. But there's a catch. And it's a big one. That 5-star general? He wants to be paid. And he is very, very expensive. Mutual funds charge fees, the most important of which is called an expense ratio. It's a percentage of your money that they take every single year for their management services. It might sound small, maybe 1%. What's 1%? But 1% is a Trojan horse. It's a silent assassin in your fortress. Over 30 or 40 years, that small 1% fee can devour hundreds of thousands of dollars of your potential growth. It's like a tax on your future that you don't have to pay. And here's the dirty little secret the financial industry doesn't want you to know. Most of these expensive 5-star generals don't even beat the average. Study after study shows that the vast majority of actively managed mutual funds fail to outperform the overall market over the long run. You are paying a premium price for a worse-than-average performance. It's a broken model. But what if there was a way to get all the benefits of a mutual fund, the diversification, the simplicity, without the expensive general? What if, instead of trying to hire a genius to pick the best soldiers, you could just own a tiny piece of every soldier? This brings us to our fourth and final recruit, the one that has revolutionized investing for ordinary people. It's called an index fund. An index fund is the ultimate people's army. It's built on a simple, devastatingly effective idea. Stop trying to beat the market. Just be the market. An index is just a list of companies that represents a slice of the market. The most famous one in America is the S&P 500. It's a list of the 500 largest, most influential public companies in the United States. Think Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Johnson & Johnson, Walmart. It's a who's who of the American economy. An S&P 500 index fund is a fund that does one, and only one thing: it automatically buys the stock of all 500 companies on that list. That's it. There's no expensive general making brilliant moves. There's no team of analysts trying to predict the future. It's run by a computer. You are not betting on one company, or even one manager's skill. You are making one single powerful bet: that over the long term the American economy as a whole will grow. And historically, that has been the safest and most profitable bet in modern history. This simple structure gives the index fund two superpowers. First, ultimate diversification. By buying one share of an S&P 500 index fund, you instantly own a small piece of 500 different companies. If one of them fails, who cares? You have 499 others picking up the slack. Your risk is spread so wide it's almost non-existent over the long term. And second, its greatest weapon: it is dirt cheap. Because there's no general to pay, the expense ratios on index funds are ridiculously low. We're not talking 1%. We're talking 0.04% or even less. It's practically free. Let me show you why this matters. Let's say you invest $10,000 and it grows at 8% a year for 30 years. With a typical 1% mutual fund fee, you'd end up with about $76,000. Not bad. But with a 0.04% index fund fee, you'd have over $100,000. That's a $24,000 difference. More than double your initial investment that you lost to fees. For doing nothing. The index fund gave you the exact same diversification, a historically better performance, and let you keep a life-changing amount of your own money. For the vast majority of people starting their retirement plan, especially with a small budget, this is the answer. This is the key that unlocks the vault. A low-cost index fund like one that tracks the S&P 500, held inside your Roth IRA fortress. It is the single most effective, simple, and proven strategy for building wealth over the long term. You harness the full power of the American economy, you minimize your risk through massive diversification, and you keep almost all of your money working for you, not for some fund manager on Wall Street. You now know the account, the fortress, the Roth IRA. And you know the best soldier to put inside it: a low-cost index fund. The what and the why are clear. But what about the how? Where do you actually go to open this account? Which companies offer these funds? How do you click the buttons and turn your dollars into a share of these 500 companies? That practical, step-by-step process, choosing your brokerage, is where the rubber meets the road. And that's exactly where we're going next. Alright, let's break this down. The concept of a brokerage sounds intimidating, like you need to be wearing a suit and yelling "buy, sell" into a phone. But I want you to forget all that. A brokerage is not a fancy Wall Street club. It's just a store. Think of it like a supermarket. You've decided you want to buy food to stock your pantry for the future. That's your retirement plan. The specific food you want to buy is that S&P 500 index fund we talked about, a basket of America's best companies. The brokerage is simply the supermarket where you go to buy that basket. Now, just like with supermarkets, some are better than others. Some are boutique, high-end stores that charge you a premium just for the fancy lighting and the free samples. Others are massive, low-cost warehouses that give you the exact same products for a fraction of the price. For building long-term wealth, we want the warehouse. We want the place that gives us access to the investments we need with the lowest possible costs. In the United States, for 99% of people starting out, this choice boils down to three main companies. The big three of low-cost investing: Fidelity, Vanguard, and Charles Schwab. Let me be crystal clear about this, because this is where so many people get stuck in what's called analysis paralysis. They spend 6 months researching whether Fidelity is 0.01% better than Vanguard, and in that time they miss out on 6 months of market growth. The difference between these three is like the difference between Coke, Pepsi, and Dr. Pepper. They are all fantastic top-tier choices that will get the job done. The most important decision is to pick one and start drinking. The absolute worst financial decision is to die of thirst because you couldn't decide which one was perfect. All three of these companies are massive, they're reputable, they've been around for decades, and they are insured, meaning your investments are protected up to $500,000 by something called the SIPC if the company were to fail. So the risk of choosing the wrong one among these three is practically zero. So how do we pick? We can focus on a few tiny details that might make one a slightly better fit for you. First, let's talk about the most important factor: cost. This is the whole game. The less you pay in fees, the more of your money gets to stay in your account and grow. Imagine you have a bucket you're trying to fill with water, but the bucket has a tiny, invisible leak. That leak is fees. Over a day, you won't notice the lost water. But over 40 years, that tiny leak can drain a significant portion of your bucket. The good news is, the big three are in a price war with each other, which is fantastic for us. All of them offer $0 commissions to buy and sell US stocks and ETFs, 0 account fees or minimums to open an account. This is a modern miracle of finance. 20 years ago, you would have paid a fee every single time you invested $1. Now it's free. But the one fee you still have to watch for is called the expense ratio on the index fund itself. Remember, the fund is a product on the supermarket shelf. The expense ratio is the tiny price tag for managing that product. Vanguard, the company literally founded by the inventor of the index fund, Jack Bogle, has famously low expense ratios. Their S&P 500 fund, ticker symbol VOO, has a ratio of just 0.03%. That means for every $10,000 you have invested, you pay them just $3 a year. It's incredibly cheap. But then Fidelity came along and said, "We can do better." They introduced a line of zero expense ratio funds. That's not a typo. Their Fidelity Zero Total Market Index Fund, FZROX, has an expense ratio of 0%. You pay nothing. Not a single penny in management fees. How do they do this? They make money in other ways, like on interest from cash sitting in accounts, but for you, the beginner index fund investor, it's effectively free. This makes Fidelity an extremely compelling choice for someone just starting out. The second factor is user experience. How easy is it to use their website or their mobile app? This is more subjective. Generally, people find Fidelity and Charles Schwab to have more modern, intuitive, and user-friendly apps. They feel a bit more like a sleek tech company. Vanguard, while being the philosophical grandfather of this entire movement, has a reputation for being a little clunky. Their website and app get the job done, but sometimes it feels like it was designed by engineers in the early 2000s. For some, this doesn't matter. For others who live on their smartphone, a clean, fast app can make the difference between feeling confident and feeling confused. The third, and for our purposes a critically important factor, is something called fractional shares. This is a game changer for people with a small budget. Let's go back to our supermarket. Imagine one share of an S&P 500 index fund is like a giant, party-sized wheel of cheese that costs $500. In the old days, if you only had $50, you were out of luck. You couldn't afford the whole wheel, so you couldn't buy any cheese at all. Fractional shares changed everything. It's the supermarket saying, "Don't worry if you can't afford the whole wheel. We'll let you buy just a slice." With fractional shares, you can invest by the dollar amount, not the share amount. You can say, "I have $25 this week," and the brokerage will give you $25 worth of that fund, even if it's just 1/20th of a full share. This is the key that unlocks investing for everyone. It means you can start with whatever you have. $5, $10, $20. You can put that money to work immediately. Fidelity and Charles Schwab are fantastic at this. They let you buy fractional shares of thousands of different stocks and funds. Vanguard has been slower to adopt this, and while they are rolling it out, it's not as universally available across their platform. For a beginner starting small, the ability to invest any dollar amount you want is a massive advantage, giving another strong point to Fidelity or Schwab. So to recap, all three are great. Don't waste time trying to find the perfect one. Fidelity often gets the edge for beginners because of its zero-expense ratio funds, a very user-friendly app, and the ability to buy fractional shares with as little as $1. Now I have to give you one major warning. Place not to go. And this might be controversial, but it's a common trap. Your big traditional bank. You might have a checking account with Chase or Bank of America or Wells Fargo. And one day you'll see an ad in your banking app that says, "Start investing with us." It's easy. Here's the problem. Your bank is a specialist at being a bank checking savings loans. It's not a specialist at low-cost investing. It's like asking your family doctor to perform brain surgery. They might know the basics, but you really want the specialist. These bank-run investment platforms often have higher fees, a more limited selection of low-cost funds, and are designed to push you into their own expensive, actively managed products. They will try to sell you on a financial advisor, who is often just a salesperson working for the bank's commission. Stick with the specialists. Stick with the low-cost champions. Fidelity, Vanguard, or Schwab. So, your homework, your first real step is this. Tonight, just go to the website for one of these 3 companies. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to enter any information. Just pull up the homepage. Look around. Get a feel for the layout. See that it's not some scary, complicated Wall Street machine. It's just a website like Amazon or Netflix. But once you're there, you're going to be faced with the next big question. You'll see buttons that say, "Open an account," and then you'll see a confusing menu of options. Roth IRA, traditional IRA, rollover IRA, individual brokerage account. It's like standing in front of 3 different doors. Behind each door is a different set of rules, a different way your money will be taxed, and a different path to retirement. Choosing the right door at the very beginning is one of the most powerful financial decisions you will ever make. It can be the difference between a comfortable tax-free retirement and one where you end up giving a huge chunk of your nest egg back to the IRS. So which door should you choose? And why does it matter so much? That is the crucial next piece of the puzzle, and it's exactly what we're breaking down next. The choice between these 2 doors, traditional versus Roth, boils down to one simple question. Do you want to pay your taxes now, or do you want to pay them later? It sounds simple, but this single decision can mean the difference of hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars over your lifetime. It's the ultimate financial chess move, and you're deciding whether to sacrifice a pawn now to protect your king later. Let's start with the first door. The traditional account. This includes your standard 401k and the traditional IRA. Think of this as the pay me later plan. When you contribute money to a traditional account, the government gives you an immediate high five in the form of a tax deduction. Let's make this real. Say you earn $60,000 a year. If you put $6,000 into your traditional 401k, the IRS essentially pretends you only earned $54,000 that year. They only tax you on that smaller amount. This means your tax bill for the year goes down, and your take-home pay goes up. Feels fantastic. You're getting an immediate reward for saving for your future. You're lowering your current tax burden, which frees up cash flow right now when you might need it most. And while that money sits in your account, it grows tax-deferred. That means as your investments generate dividends, interest, and capital gains over the next 10, 20, 30 years, you don't pay a single penny in taxes on that growth. The government leaves it alone to compound, to work its magic uninterrupted. This is powerful. It allows your money to grow faster because it's not being whittled away by yearly taxes. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. The pay me later bill eventually comes due. When you retire and start pulling that money out, every single dollar you withdraw, your original contributions and all that glorious uninterrupted growth, is taxed as ordinary income. It's treated just like a paycheck. So if you pull out $50,000 for the year to live on, you owe income tax on that full $50,000. Essentially, you're making a bet. You're betting that your tax rate in retirement will be lower than your tax rate is today, during your peak earning years. For someone who's a high-income earner right now, a doctor, a lawyer, a senior executive, this can be a very smart bet. They can save a ton on taxes today when they're in a high bracket, and then pay taxes in retirement when their income, and potentially their tax bracket, is much lower. Now let's walk through the second door, the Roth account. This is the Roth 401k and the legendary Roth IRA. This is the pay me now plan. When you contribute money to a Roth account, there is no immediate gratification. There's no tax deduction. If you earn that same $60,000 and put $6,000 into a Roth, you still pay taxes on the full $60,000. Your paycheck feels it. It's post-tax money. It feels a little harder, a little less rewarding in the moment. You're paying the full price up front. But the superpower of the Roth is on the back end. Just like the traditional account, your money grows completely tax-deferred for decades. But here's where the paths diverge into two completely different universes. When you reach retirement age and you start to withdraw that money, it is 100% completely gloriously tax-free. Every penny, your original contributions, tax-free. All the decades of compound growth, all the dividends, all the gains that turned your small contributions into a massive nest egg, all of it, tax-free. You owe the IRS nothing. Zero. You've already paid your dues. With a Roth, you're not gambling on what future tax rates will be. Let's be honest, does anyone really think taxes are going to be significantly lower in 20 or 30 years? With rising national debt and government spending, many people are betting they'll be the same or, more likely, higher. A Roth account is your personal fortress against future tax hikes. You are locking in today's tax rates on your contributions, and then slamming the door shut on the IRS forever when it comes to your growth. This provides an incredible amount of certainty and peace of mind in retirement. You know that the number you see in your account is the actual number you get to spend. To make this crystal clear, let's imagine two farmers. Farmer Traditional and Farmer Roth. They both want to grow a giant crop for their retirement. Farmer Traditional goes to the taxman and says, "I have this bag of seeds I want to plant." The taxman says, "Great, go ahead and plant it. Don't worry about paying me anything for the seeds. I'll just come back at harvest time and take a percentage of your entire crop." So Farmer Traditional gets to plant his full bag of seeds. Farmer Roth goes to the taxman with her bag of seeds. The taxman says, "Okay, before you plant, I'm going to take my share of those seeds right now." He takes a small scoop of seeds as tax, and Farmer Roth is left with a slightly smaller bag to plant. For years, both farmers work their land. Their crops grow. Farmer Traditional looks over the fence and sees his field is a little bigger, because he started with more seeds. But then 30 years later, it's harvest time. Both farmers have grown enormous, life-sustaining crops. Farmer Traditional is about to celebrate when the taxman's truck pulls up. He looks at the entire massive harvest, the original seeds and all the growth, and says, "All right, I'll be taking my 25%. And he drives away with a huge chunk of the farmer's life's work. Then the taxman drives over to Farmer Roth's field. She's standing by her equally massive harvest. The taxman just smiles, waves, and keeps on driving. He already got his share 30 years ago. The entire harvest belongs to her, free and clear. Which farmer do you want to be? For most people starting out, especially young people, the answer is clear: you want to be Farmer Roth. When you're in your 20s or early 30s, your income is likely the lowest it will ever be. This means your tax bracket is also the lowest it will ever be. This is the discount tax sale of your life. Paying a relatively small amount of tax now at a 12% or 22% rate to secure decades of tax-free growth is one of the most powerful financial moves you can possibly make. You are trading a small known pain today for an enormous guaranteed benefit tomorrow. So what's the verdict? If you expect your income, and therefore your tax bracket, to be higher in the future, the Roth is almost always the better choice. If you are a high-income earner right now and expect to be in a much lower tax bracket in retirement, the Traditional's upfront tax break is incredibly valuable. But here's the secret pro tip. For many people, it doesn't have to be an all-or-nothing decision. More and more companies now offer both a traditional 401k and a Roth 401k. You can split your contributions between them. This is called tax diversification. You can put half your savings into the Traditional to get some tax relief now, and the other half into the Roth to get some tax-free income later. You're hedging your bets. No matter what future tax rates do, you'll have a bucket of money that's perfectly suited for the environment. It's like packing both an umbrella and sunglasses for a trip. You're prepared for any weather. So we've figured out the game. We understand the power of starting early. We know how much to save. We've chosen our account, our tax-advantaged basket. Whether it's traditional, Roth, or a strategic mix of both, we are standing on the launch pad, ready for liftoff. But there's one final crucial piece missing. The basket is still empty. Just opening a 401k or an IRA and putting cash in it is like buying a high-performance race car and never taking it out of the garage. The account itself doesn't make you money. The investments inside it do. This is the part that terrifies most people. Stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, it feels like a completely different language, a high-stakes casino where one wrong move could wipe you out. What if I told you there's a simple, proven, almost set it and forget it strategy to investing inside these accounts? A way to put your money to work, harnessing the power of the world's greatest companies, without having to be a Wall Street genius or checking the stock market every 5 minutes. This is the engine that will actually power your journey to retirement. And building that engine step by step is exactly where we're going next. Okay, so how do we build this engine? It's not about complicated charts or secret stock tips. It all boils down to making 3 simple decisions correctly one time. Get these 3 things right, set them on autopilot, and you can practically ignore it for years. Decision number 1. Where do you put the money? This is the most fundamental choice. You can't just buy investments through your regular Bank of America or Chase checking account. A bank account is for saving and spending. It's a wallet. An investment account is for building wealth. It's a workshop. You need to open a specific type of account designed for investing called a brokerage account. But not just any brokerage account. We want one with superpowers. We want a retirement account. In the United States, the 2 most important ones for you to know are the 401k and the Roth IRA. Let's start with the 401k. This is the account you get through your employer. If you work for a company, big or small, you need to ask your HR department one question tomorrow morning. Do we have a 401k plan? And does the company offer a match? A company match is the closest thing to free money that exists on planet Earth. It's when your employer says, for every dollar you put into your 401k, we'll put in $1 too, up to a certain amount. A common match is 100% of your contributions up to, say, 5% of your salary. Let me translate that for you. If you make $50,000 a year and you put in 5%, which is $2,500, your company will drop another $2,500 into your account for free. You instantly turned your $2,500 into $5,000. That is a 100% return on your investment before you've even invested in anything. There is no stock, no real estate deal, no cryptocurrency that can guarantee you a 100% return in 1 second. Not contributing enough to get your full company match is like taking 5% of your paycheck every single week and setting it on fire. It is the single biggest financial mistake you can make. So, your first mission before you do anything else is to contribute to your 401k up to the point of the full company match. Now, what if your company doesn't offer a 401k? Or what if you're already getting your full match and want to do more? That's where the second account, the superstar of retirement, comes in, the Roth IRA. An IRA is an individual retirement arrangement. You open this on your own, completely separate from your employer. You can go to a company like Vanguard, Fidelity, or Charles Schwab and open one online in about 15 minutes. The Roth part is the magic. With a Roth IRA, you put in money that you've already paid taxes on, your regular take-home pay. But here's the beautiful part. Once that money is in the account, it grows completely 100% tax-free. And when you pull it out in retirement, you pay zero. Nothing. The government can't touch a single penny of your growth. Imagine you contribute for 30 years and your account grows to $1 million. With a Roth IRA, that $1 million is all yours. With other accounts, you might owe hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes on that money. The Roth IRA is a cheat code for a tax-free retirement. So the answer to where do I put the money is simple. Step 1. Your company 401k, but only up to the full employer match. Step 2. A Roth IRA, until you hit the yearly contribution limit. If you still have more money to invest after that, you can go back and put more into your 401k. That's decision 1. You now know which workshop to build your engine in. Now for decision number 2, what do you actually buy inside that account? This is where people get paralyzed. They think they need to pick the next Amazon or Tesla. But we're not doing that. We're not picking individual stocks. That's gambling. We're buying the entire market. We're doing this with something called a low-cost, broad market index fund. Let's break that down. Index fund just means it's a fund that automatically copies a market index, like the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is just a list of the 500 largest, most profitable public companies in America. Think Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Johnson & Johnson, Walmart. When you buy a share of an S&P 500 index fund, you are not buying one company. You are buying a tiny microscopic sliver of all 500 of them in one single purchase. It's like buying a single ticket that lets you own a piece of the entire American economy. If Apple has a great year, you benefit. If it has a bad year, it's balanced out by the other 499 companies. You are completely diversified. You've removed the risk of one single company going bankrupt and wiping you out. Your success is no longer tied to a single CEO. It's tied to the long-term growth of American business as a whole. The other key phrase there was low cost. Every fund charges a small annual fee called an expense ratio. This is critical. A high expense ratio is a silent killer of your wealth. It's like a tiny leak in your car's gas tank. You barely notice it day to day, but over a 40-year road trip, you lose thousands of gallons of fuel. You want to find index funds with an expense ratio as close to zero as possible. We're talking 0.05% or lower. For every $10,000 you have invested, a 0.05% fee is just $5 a year. A typical high-fee fund might charge 1%, which is $100 a year. That doesn't sound like much, but compounded over 30 or 40 years, that difference can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. So when you open your Roth IRA or look at your 401k options, you're looking for funds with names like S&P 500 Index Fund or Total Stock Market Index Fund. And you're checking that expense ratio to make sure it's incredibly low. That's it. You don't need to overcomplicate it. For most people, a single total stock market index fund is all they will ever need to build immense wealth. Okay, deep breath. We've chosen the right account and we've chosen the right investment to put inside it. Now for the final, most important piece of the puzzle. Decision number 3. How do you invest? The answer is not when the market is up, or when you get a good feeling. The answer is automatically and consistently. This is the secret sauce. You need to set up an automatic transfer from your bank account to your investment account every single payday. Whether it's $25, $50, or $500. It doesn't matter. The amount is less important than the consistency. This process is called dollar cost averaging, and it's your best friend. Here's why it's so powerful. It completely removes emotion from the equation. The number one reason people fail at investing is because they panic. They see the market go down, they get scared, and they sell everything at the bottom. Then, when the market is soaring and everyone is euphoric, they get FOMO, fear of missing out, and they buy in at the absolute peak. They are hardwired to buy high and sell low. Automation saves you from yourself. By investing the same dollar amount every 2 weeks, you short-circuit that emotional impulse. When the market is high, your $50 buys fewer shares. When the market crashes and prices are low, your same $50 automatically buys more shares. You don't have to time anything. You don't have to be a genius. Your own system forces you to buy more when things are on sale. It turns a scary market crash into a discount opportunity that you take advantage of without even thinking. So, the complete plan is this. 1. Open the right account. Get your 401k match first, then open a Roth IRA. 2. Inside that account, buy a single low-cost broad market index fund. 3. Set up an automatic investment for every single payday, and never ever stop it. That's the engine. Simple, it's proven, and it works. You are leveraging the collective genius and greed of the entire American economy, and you're doing it on autopilot. Now, setting up this engine is the single most important mechanical step you can take. But the truth is, the machine is only as good as its operator. The biggest threat to your retirement isn't a stock market crash. It's the person you see in the mirror. And conquering the psychological traps, the fear, and the impatience that derail 99% of people, well, that's the final key to the entire kingdom. And that's what we're unlocking next. Let's talk about the two versions of you. There's the you right now listening to this, armed with a plan. And then there's the future you, the one who will be staring at a sea of red on their investment account screen during a market panic. The one whose friends are all bragging about some crypto coin that just went to the moon. The one who gets bored after a year because the numbers aren't moving fast enough. That future you is your greatest opponent. And your success depends entirely on how you handle them. The first psychological trap is the siren song of get rich quick. It's called FOMO, the fear of missing out. You'll see a stock like GameStop explode. You'll hear about someone who turned $1,000 into $1 million on a meme coin. And your brain, hardwired for instant gratification, will scream, "That should be me. I'm missing out." You'll feel a physical urge to abandon our slow, steady, boring plan and chase that lottery ticket. But here's the brutal truth. That's not investing. That is gambling. For every one person who hits that jackpot, thousands get wiped out. They just don't post their losses on social media. Chasing hot stocks is like trying to catch lightning in a bottle. Our strategy, the one we've built over this entire series, isn't about catching lightning. It's about building a power plant. It's methodical. It's predictable. It's boring. And boring is where generational wealth is built. The talking heads on TV need you to feel FOMO. They need you to trade, to click, to react. Their business model is your anxiety. Your defense is discipline. When you feel that urge to chase, you must remind yourself, I am not a gambler. I am a builder. I am playing a different game, a longer game, and it's the only game that you can guarantee you'll win. The second and most dangerous trap is its opposite, panic selling. The market will crash. Let me say that again so it sinks in. The market will crash. It's not a possibility, it's a statistical certainty. It will happen many times over your investing lifetime, and when it does, it will feel like the world is ending. The news will be filled with terrifying headlines. Experts will predict a new Great Depression. Your account, which you've so diligently funded, might be down 20, 30, even 40%. Every instinct in your body will shriek at you to sell, to get out, to stop the bleeding. This is the moment of truth. This is the great filter that separates successful investors from everyone else. Because what you do in that moment of maximum panic will determine your entire financial future. The amateur sees the market down 30% and thinks, I've lost 30% of my money. They sell, locking in their losses permanently. The disciplined investor, the one who understands history, sees the market down 30% and thinks, everything is on a 30% off sale. Remember this. Every single bear market in the history of the US stock market has been followed by a new bull market and new all-time highs. Every single one, without exception. When you sell at the bottom, you are essentially forfeiting the recovery. You're stepping off the roller coaster right at the very bottom, right before it starts its climb back up the biggest hill. Your job during a crash is brutally simple. Do nothing. Or, if you have the stomach and the means, follow the plan. Keep buying your low-cost index fund every single month, just like you always do. When you do this, you are buying more shares for the same amount of money. You are lowering your average cost. You are setting yourself up for incredible gains when the inevitable recovery happens. The stock market is the only store in the world where, when things go on sale, people run out of the building screaming. Be the one who calmly walks in and continues your shopping. The third trap is the one that stops most people before they even begin. Analysis paralysis. It's the feeling that you don't know enough, that it's too complicated. You hear terms like PE ratios, derivatives, quantitative easing, and you feel like you need a PhD in economics just to start. So you wait. You tell yourself you'll start once you've read a few more books, watched a few more videos, once you really understand it. But that day never comes. This entire series was designed to destroy that excuse. You don't need to be a Wall Street wizard. You don't need to understand the intricacies of global finance. You need to understand three things. A Roth IRA gives you tax-free growth. A total market index fund gives you diversified ownership of the entire economy. And consistency is the engine that makes it all work. That's it. That's the secret. The cost of waiting, the cost of being on the sidelines while you try to learn everything, is devastatingly high. It's measured in tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost compound growth. Starting with an imperfect plan is infinitely better than waiting for the perfect one that never arrives. You have the plan right now. It is simple, it is proven, and it is powerful. Your only job is to execute it. And finally, we have the most subtle enemy of all, impatience. We live in a world of instant everything. 2-day shipping feels slow. We can stream any movie, order any food, and get an answer to any question in seconds. Our brains have been rewired for immediate results. But building wealth is not a microwave. It's a crock pot. It's a slow simmering process that takes years, even decades. For the first 5, maybe even 10 years, it's going to feel underwhelming. You'll be diligently putting away $100, $200 a month, and your account balance will barely seem to move. The growth will be trivial. This is the boring middle. This is where most people lose faith. They think, this isn't working, and they quit. They stop contributing, or, even worse, they pull their money out to spend on something that provides an instant hit of gratification. They are quitting the marathon at mile 3, completely unaware that the real magic doesn't happen until mile 20. The power of compound interest is backloaded. It's exponential. In the beginning, your contributions are doing all the heavy lifting. But over time, a shift happens. Your money starts making money. And then, the money your money made starts making its own money. In the final decade of your journey, your investment gains will likely be larger than all of your contributions combined. The growth curve will go from a flat line to a gentle slope to a rocket ship. But you have to stay invested long enough to see the launch. You have to have the patience to endure the boring middle. You have to trust the process, especially when it feels like nothing is happening. So let's bring it all home. We started this journey with a simple, powerful idea. That anyone, even on a small budget, can build a secure and dignified retirement in America. We didn't talk about secret stocks or complicated trading strategies. We built a simple machine. A Roth IRA for the tax-free growth. A low-cost, total market index fund for the engine. And automated, consistent contributions for the fuel. That's the entire machine. But the machine is useless without the right operator. And that's you. You are the final variable. Your ability to conquer FOMO, to stare down panic, to overcome paralysis, and to master patience is the ultimate determinant of your success. This isn't just about numbers on a screen. This is about buying your freedom. The freedom to walk away from a job you hate. The freedom to spend your final decades focused on your health, your family, your passions, not on your bills. The freedom from being a burden on your children. The person you will be in 30 or 40 years cannot come back in time to do this for you. They are completely and utterly dependent on the decisions you make today. Right now, you have the knowledge. You have the blueprint. You have the tools. The only thing separating you from a future of financial freedom is one small, simple action. Open the account. Set up the automatic transfer. Start. Even if it's just $50. Start today, because the greatest journey of your life is waiting for you on the other side of that first step.